Right, hello everyone. Welcome to a coaching session together with Kamil. Kamil is going to have a coaching here at Spa-Francorchamps on Le Mans Ultimate with the mighty Lambo. And well, we're about to head into the session, so you can go straight out. I'm going to be watching on you. And then you can start. Right, you can go straight out.
Okay. I feel like on the driving license test.
It is a driving license test to an extent. Okay, so just do a couple of 3 or 4 laps so I can take some notes and have some idea what's going on.
Tires are still a bit cold.
Yeah, I will start looking at it from like lap 1 or 2 onwards.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too bad from the beginning. I see a couple of small issues, like nothing too crazy. You feel that Kamil seems to be struggling a bit with trusting the car yet. Like he turns in very early. I think he's not carrying enough speed into the turns from what the car actually can do. He's just taking it very much easy, which indicates a small insecurity with the car, like not feeling 100% comfortable, not having to put trust into the car as of right now. but we'll see whether that improves over the course of the next 1 or 2 laps. Bus stop looks alright. I'm gonna look at the first lap time. That one looks good. Rouge can be a bit fixed. It's just forcing the car too much a bit. Bump entry. Left-hander. He has one habit. He is turning in ever so slightly way too early. Like at every turning point, he's already like a quarter away from the track limit. So he will now go to the outside and now already go to the inside before the actual turn starts. And with that, he's taken away a lot of momentum from him. As in, his entry speed is like 10 kph slower, he has a different angle, he has to wait longer on the exits until he can apply the power and so on. However, despite all that, it is a... is it purple? Yeah, purple S1, purple S2 by a 10th. He isn't slow, but there's just much more potential. Track limit somewhere.
I just did my personal best, to be honest.
That's good. So we can pick right up from it.
Yep.
Completely missed that thirdly. Sector 1 is another 2/10 faster, so 32.6 versus 33.0 as we can see. Yeah, that looked better now. Much better. Yep, the final sector
and
comes...
I am improving by 0.3. It's crazy. Never was able to do such times.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, there is not too much that we need to work on. Like, a couple of nuances and details left, right and center, but there is no big issue in your driving and your lines or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, turn 1 is really good. What I would want to try now for entry of Eau Rouge, try to take it a bit in a narrow line, like turn in already now. Exactly, so that you only have to worry about that right hand corner.
Okay.
This was much better, like that you really open up that right uphill corner so that you can actually take an influence where exactly you exit into rudder wheel.
Okay.
can do a little bit on the entry. Okay, do one more lap.
Okay. I'm carrying more speed. I see the delta going down.
Yeah. Like beforehand, you were scrubbing off a bit of speed, but we're gonna talk when you're in after the lap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's hesitation going into Puhon, and I know why. Whenever I drove the Lambo, I struggled with the rear coming around into Puhon. So I think he's just taking it with extra care. Okay, so far so good.
Yeah. I'm really amazed I was able to do that time really.
That's fine. I still got a couple of things. So Eau Rouge, obviously, we've already spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
You can really sort of straight line that entry into the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really important that you treat Eau Rouge in that sense as like only the uphill right-hand turn.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as possible, neglect the fact that there is a left turn as an entry into it.
Okay.
So that you can really straight line as much as possible Eau Rouge by itself. But you already did that quite well, and you saw the delta coming up nicely, because what's happening in the compression when the car starts going uphill, you don't have as much steering input naturally because you've straight lined the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that means less friction, that means less rolling resistance, which means you're also losing less speed going up that hill, not forcing the car around the corner, but letting it more freely roll through it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a nuance. Then into Le Combe at the top, I felt most of the time that on the initial entry you start really braking on the outside, but like 5 to 10 meters before the actual turn in entry point, you ever so slightly steer to the right, or to like already into the turn. Kind of taking the entry too early. And with that, you very much... It is very little, it is very a fine detail, but you're not setting up the corner right. Le Combe is really to be treated like a corner combination, so you kind of need to neglect the first turn and stay as much as possible on the right to open up the left-hander.
Mm-hmm.
Then make sure, also in the Lambo, I think, with the half car to be on the curb on the left, so that you hang in with the inside tires around the curb, so that the car gets pulled around to the left, and then that should enable you to be very much on the left hand outside for going through the Lecombe exit.
Okay.
And on that exit, I found like you turn in a lot, you steer a lot on the steering wheel, but the car doesn't really turn around. So what I would like you to try to steer a little less there, and maybe start the coasting a little bit earlier, so that when the car is pointing towards the curb, you can then go flat out and rotate the car on the throttle out of the turn. That way you should be able to carry a bit more speed through the turn. Then Rivage and No Name Corner is kind of fine. For No Name Corner, this is tricky because it goes downhill, so you're very easy locking up the front tires somehow.
Yeah.
So what I advise to do usually is to hardly use any brake there. If anything, go coasting into the turn a bit earlier than you normally would. And if the car doesn't rotate, try to flick from third to second gear. That way the rear should step out a tiny little bit, or like the engine brake and the coast on the differential should improve the momentum. Once you're then on the curb, you can go onto the throttle gradually, or a straight line exit. Then going into Puhon. In Puhon, you really see that you are not trusting the car there. It's
that's true.
Phenomenally to see. What I would, and that's why we're doing that coaching now. If you know, I don't care right now whether you're able to hit a 2004 or 20 or even like a 159. That's not the goal of this session right now. The goal is to get you onto the optimal line and to make you feel comfortable doing the optimal line. So what you really should try doing, and it's fine to go slower through Puhon in the first place, but really put the car onto the entry outside curb for as long as possible, and turn in rather late. That way you can carry the most maximum speed into the turn, and it will be playing faster from there on, because when you are turning in with more speed, you obviously are much faster at the middle of the turn, and then on the exit, you're already much faster. Like you're gonna carry that momentum all the way down until the breaking point for Fagnes. Into Fagnes, a little bit the same as like going into Lecombe. I think there were a couple of laps where you were like rolling early towards that apex, so really you broke, and 5 to 10 meters before the turn in on the apex, you already turned in ever so slightly, narrowing the entry. The comp in itself is fine then, and then Stavelot on the tight one, on the corner before the intersection of the sectors. Yeah, you really go in strong on the steering wheel. Try to do the same brake 2 or 3, maybe 5 meters earlier. Don't turn in as much, and really wait for the car, or feel the rotation of the car coming from the front. And when the car is rotating towards the apex, then you can pick up the throttle and get a blistering exit. And generally speaking, in those hypercars, it's important that you are anticipating the apex for a good exit. So what you should always do is try to have the majority of the rotation, the majority of the turn being done when at the apex. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have a 90-degree turn and the apex sits at the point where the turn has a 45-degree angle, your car should have already rotated 50 degrees, so it only has to do 40 degrees beyond the apex on the exit. Because that way you can maximize the momentum on the exit.
And so that what you're saying is that I should really rather prioritize exit speed and rather rotate the car in a way that I can go on the throttle like already a little bit before the apex.
Exactly. It's fine if you go in, let's say, if you turn in a little late into the turn, if you are going with 2 or 3 kph less speed into the turn, it's fine to lose half a tenth there. Because if you get the momentum right on the exit, you regain not only half a tenth, but you gain another half a tenth or even more on the straight afterwards.
Okay. Okay.
Just like you do it in turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
In turn 1, you consciously or subconsciously do it already. Like you are going a little bit wide, and then you are pinching in hard to the apex, and then you try to straight line the exit already going down towards Hulu.
Yeah, but this I do rather consciously, because the straight afterwards is so long that you really carry this additional momentum for a long time.
Exactly, and you should treat every corner like this, in not this extreme, but generally rather treat it like this instead of trying to carry more speed into the turn.
Okay.
Because this is also easy on the tires.
Okay.
Yeah, when you have maximum rotation at a lower speed, the tires take less load, and if you are going harder on the exit when being more straight lined, the car do not need to have that sideways grip or that lateral grip anymore.
Okay.
So that makes it easier for the tires as well.
That's really good advice. Okay.
So feel free to get the fresh car, fresh tires, and put the advice into practice. I'll try to leave you alone for the most part in the beginning.
Okay.
But whenever I see something in a turn, I will either praise you or I will either try to correct you.
Okay.
And if you don't want that, just feel free to tell me to shut the F up. Remain silent, and we're gonna discuss things.
No, I would prefer feedback like during the driving. Yeah.
Okay. So try to put the things that we've spoke about into practice for the first 1 or 2 laps. I'll just let you warm up the tires and try to get you into a comfortable way doing this. And then we try going for lap times.
Okay.
Although lap time is not important, it's more important to get the technique right. Yeah, wait a little longer with the throttle. You need to make the car point towards the curb, and then you can go on the throttle. Otherwise, you have to hesitate like you just had to do on the exit.
Yeah.
Maybe get the car into rotation first and have the downshift towards the apex.
Oh shit.
It's fine, it's part of the process. You were not yet to the outside enough. And you already felt you are late on the turn-in, which is why you are turned in heavily. But it's fine, keep going. Try to stay more to the right here. On the exit of the right-hander. And here you saw perfectly into Stavelo. You've done 40% of the rotation before the apex, and then you had to steer hard for quite some long time before the exit, before you could straight line the car. We want to swap that around.
A woke up.
It's fine, tires won't be on temperature yet. So let's see. I think as soon as tires go to temperature, we might see a better sector 1 indeed.
This is a...
But you see why I want you to do this?
Yes, but really, yeah. I don't like this cap, to be honest.
I hear you, I hear you. The only thing you've missed now is mounting the entry curb into Le Combe, otherwise the line was pretty good. Especially from the entry onwards. Now try to shift down later, like right when the car touches the curb on the inside.
Okay.
Here, go on that curb. Yep, almost. See, you can turn in a tad later and then just kiss the inside curb a little later and then you don't get that tank slapper. Yeah, would not go onto these curbs in Fangnes.
Okay.
Just go at them. Maybe don't want to go too hard over that entry curb.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the car's pretty unsettling. Might work better with other cars, but with the Lambo it's tricky. Much better. Yep, may have not even needed the downshift, but it's fine.
Yeah. Need a little bit more brake there.
A little bit more brake, exactly. Don't mount the curb, just stay here to the right. Yes. Yeah, if you don't miss the curb, it's actually going to be easier on the exit. I'm talking about Stavelo here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an off track. Let's see if he gets a sector.
Sorry, I was focusing still on that curve before.
Fine.
I have a feeling that it slows me down a little bit. I don't know.
It should not, like... You will have to need to hang yourself in and anticipate that momentum going around. I mean, we can also check some Motec data if for your setup and your driving style it might be slower, but I don't think it is. don't forget to maximize the track usage also there in the straight around Blanchimont.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good entry there. I think your issue is that you're completely off the throttle there.
Okay. So I should be a little bit on the throttle too.
Yeah, so that you kind of make the car understeer, and then the curb
Okay.
is correcting that. Yeah. Got the sense of how to use the engine brake there now. Oh, see, you went too early to the turn again.
Yeah.
Like before the turning point, you ever so slightly already altered the direction.
Oh shit. The car wants to go on that curbs.
Yeah, I see it once. That was a good exit. You see now, like, you've done the majority of the rotation before, and then you could already straight line the steering wheel towards the exit. That's what we want to have. Maybe get the traction controller click up. Is it still what it is before?
Probably yes.
Because that exit is quite violent there.
I will try to stay still as it is, because I think that was rather my error. I was applying too much throttle there.
Okay. Okay, now trying to hit that left curb with just a little bit of throttle.
Okay.
Not too much, but you see what happens. So that is, that was a brilliant one. The exit was brilliant. The right-hander just pointing exactly at the curb where it needs to be, and then carrying the momentum onto the exit.
Oh shit.
Yeah, good recovery there with the downshift. Exactly what we want. Almost beautiful. If you hit the apex, like just kissing the curb on the inside, you're gonna make the turn. Here in Fangius, you're now completely out of rhythm. Yep. Right idea. We've done the majority of the turning prior or around at the apex. Just try to make that a little bit more early, maybe scrap off a little bit more speed before the actual entry, and then you can do this through exits. Also, when going towards this bus stop chicane, just stay straight on the exit. Like, whenever you exit Blanchimont, just keep the steering straight and you will automatically come to the outside. It's the shortest way possible to it.
Okay.
That's very good rouge now, I think. Car's planted. Not too much force. Looks alright.
Oh, that was...
Yeah, you went too long on throttle, like just half a second too long or so. You leave the throttle, then the front turns around, and then you can have better exits. There you go. Should be a direct effect on the belt time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, look better as well.
Too late on the brakes.
Yep.
Still, but up until now I was improving the personal best already, so
Yep.
I was up over a 10th.
That's good because your first sector was down a 10th.
Yep. I forgot to go straight.
If you want, I can also do a lap or two so you see the lines if that is your desire.
That would be nice. I will do one more lap and then we can do the switch. My tires are already also flat spotted.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you want to watch via Discord from my streaming angle, or do you rather want to watch from the onboard?
On the onboard I will see the steering wheel, right?
You should, yes.
Then I think I will rather watch the onboard.
Okay.
But will I see also the pedal inputs or not?
Yes, you will.
Okay, then I will see that. Yeah, with a little bit of throttle is much better.
Yes. Yeah, that looked good. You were kinda slowly going towards the apex too early again.
Okay. I think I know where are the areas to improve. So I would like see you driving now.
Yeah. Just go into my onboard. I'm already in the pit lane so that we can save the time. Also for your video purposes, I have put the view from behind the camera, so there you can also see the live telemetry. But of course, you have the replay file on your own computer of the session itself, so you can also watch from in-game. Just 2 episodes for you to watch. So probably I need 1 lap to probably warm up the tires. I will still speak a little bit about it as good as possible. Especially on cold tires, it's very beneficial to do exactly what you're supposed to do on these things. So as well here, like I'm really waiting for the car to turn in, and when it's pointing towards the curb, then you can go for it. And then here for no name corner, I really slightly just tap the brakes so that the car stays stable. On Puhon, really wait long till the exit, till the entry. And here for Fangnes, this is what I mean, stay on the right, but don't go to the... Missed it. Like you wanna enter this one from here.
Okay.
So that you can really straight line it. And then this one is really most of the rotation up till here, and then you can go into the power straight the steering.
Yeah, I see that you are also using on the entry, on the entry and the corner, the outside curves, and I find it when I try to do it, I tend to miss the apex. It's the fact that the car reacts so heavily to those curves. I mean, I think this is like a standard feature for LMU, that the cars react more to the curves than in other sims. This is what I noticed at least. So that's
But
probably
also,
this something that I need to work a little bit more on, because of that I tend to avoid those outside curves on the entry of the corner.
Could also be a Lambo issue to an extent.
Could be.
Anyway, so yeah, half a car onto the curb is fine. Like, so that just the tire but not the chassis is going over the curb. Too early with the entry. It's like when the car is coming a bit there on the rear. Here you want to be at the curb but not on the curb, and then here you want to be opening up the entry and see how early I can go onto flat out. Sometimes a short shift helps there with the traction.
Okay.
So yeah, in that middle sector I was like just 0.3 faster than your personal best there. And then here, what I said before in Blanchiment, like just stay straight here. You'll automatically come to the outside.
Okay.
It's just a very straight line. Braking moving forward, or not a brake in itself, but a straight line driving. Just with the tires ever so slightly touching these curbs. That was a bit of a jump. And the comb obviously coming from the outside. Halfway onto that curb. And really go off the throttle, then the car rotates a little bit on the rear, and then from there on you can pick up the momentum of the car. I was on the edge of losing it.
Yeah.
But you see, that is how you carry most momentum through it. Just here, stay onto the curb, come from the entry, wait for the car to rotate, then you can push it. And here, brake rather early, second gear, third from the apex onwards, and then just try to carry as much momentum as possible. And again, Blanchiment, like make sure to use maximum track width, minimum steering input so you don't scrub off the speed. Bus stop, you do a good job there. Not much to correct about it. And then your car can do 2004. Maybe a bit faster still. That is your setup. And I have to say, your setup is alright. Like, if I can just apply the techniques that I want to apply for that car.
That's good to hear. And did you, when you were watching me drive, did you had a chance like look on how I trail brake, how I apply the throttle after the corner? Is there everything correct, or also something that could be worked on?
I think I would need to closer look at the gauges again. For the moment, I've just see whether you've locked up or
Okay.
whether you have a kind of hesitating thing going on. Like when you go into Puhon, you're on the brakes, and the moment you get off the brakes and ever so slightly turn in too early for the turn already, despite you're not
Mm-hmm.
yet at the entry point, in that coasting phase, nothing really is happening with the car. Yeah? You're not accelerating, you're not
Mm-hmm.
decelerating, you're not turning. That is the only thing I really noticed where I'd say
Okay.
in theory, when not fuel saving, there should never not be any. Wait, there should never be no pedal input at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you should
always either on brake or on throttle.
in a flat out push maximum performance world, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Unless
And
for those situations like exit off Lecombe,
hmm
there you have the special situation that a coast brings already the nose in enough, so the coast is moving the weight of the car a little bit to the front.
hmm
That way the car starts rotating in. If you would apply further brake, especially with the brake bias that you're running, you're more likely to create understeer. So therefore you just rely on the weight being moved around on the car.
hmm And exactly the brake bias. It's because the usually what I do regarding the how I set up the brakes. To be honest, I was following some videos I found on YouTube or how the setups
Hmm.
are set up by default. Usually, it's like that the brake migration is set up to the max, so 2.5%.
Hmm.
And then the brake bias in the Lambo, at least it's around usually 55, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. Like for example, in Le Mans track, it's higher than 55.
Hmm.
Um, while you were driving the Lambo now, would you go down on the brake bias or not?
It depends. For most of the turns and felt absolutely fine. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
in general I would go one click lower, so 40,
40.
54.6 or whatever it's
Okay.
coming.
Okay.
For the turn one, I tried in my first time lap, I tried flicking the rear, but I locked up the front.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Flicking the rear is a tricky one, but it can be a really fast one. I'm not sure if you've seen the race where I've done Spa with the BMW like 10 days ago.
I think not, but I think I know what you mean because this week, I mean last week, I was driving quite a bit on the Fuji daily races, the WEC experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was fixed setup, but of course I can play a little bit there with the brake bias. And there is this like 180-degree corner right-hander, and then there is
Yep.
like a 180, not really 180, but
Mm-hmm.
still the other right-hander at the beginning of the third sector in the
Yep, I know
Fuji.
which corner you mean. Turn 7 or
Yeah,
8,
and
yep.
yeah, exactly. And then on this first right-hander, this 180 degrees one, there I few times I did the like you said the flicking the rear, and I
Mm-hmm.
usually was gaining like 2/10 on that, and I was thinking how I can replicate this. And to be honest, every time I did it by accident, really.
Okay.
So
Generally,
yes.
to replicate this is you go into a normal brake situation, so flat out on the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
then you release the brakes, and instead of where you go trail braking, let's say like on the beginning you're 100, then you go in 80, 60, 50,
Mm-hmm.
40, 30, and when you are at like 30 to 20, you start turning in, and
Mm-hmm.
then you usually go gradually from 30. The more you start rotating on the wheel, the more you get off the brake until it's 0 or like just very minor.
Yeah,
That
that's
is how
like a
you
usual scenario. Yeah.
that's how you usually trail brake. So what you do in order to create that controlled Scandi flick, obviously the brake bias needs to be pretty accurate on, and I can't say by heart if it is
Mm-hmm.
53.8, 52 point, 52.8 or a different setting. It also depends very much on the setup.
Mm-hmm.
But when you found that brake bias, what you want to do is when you are at the 30%, and then you start turning in, then you go to the 20% and you turn in a bit more. And on that moment, instead of releasing from 20 gradually to 0,
Mm-hmm.
you re-intensify the brakes with it just for a fraction of a second, like 2 or
Okay.
3 tenths maybe, where you go back up between 30 and 50, like you just give it a little kick, a little impulse. And that
Okay.
should
So.
ever so slightly lock the rear and
Mm-hmm.
initiate the rotation. Like actually, you know what I'm gonna do is I quickly go out of garage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure. Probably I would need to do a lap. 53.7. I've put it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that should already be enough. Quickly do a lap. So if I spin now, then it's simply because I'm trying to find the spot on the brakes.
Yeah. Is the weaving that you do, this is something that you usually do on the first lap on the cold tires, or even in the race scenario, or in the race scenario you are not weaving when you are out of the pits on the fresh tires?
It depends. When I'm really catching every 10th and I need to get temperatures into the tires quickly, or aggressively, then I tend doing it. Then it's worth investing 2 or 3 tenths on a straight to gain 5, 6, 7 tenths on the first lap on cold tires. I'm still locking the fronts in the first place, I think. 53.2. Nope. 52.8. I remember, I think in the BMW here I ran like 52 something as well, so it might be that.
Okay.
I put my racing shoes on, so I hope I'm still hitting the right amount of pressure. I'll try flicking it into the first bus stop turn, which may result into a spin anyway, as we're going up the hill, and there you shouldn't really do a flick. But obviously I want to know if that is correct, what I'm doing here. Maybe the Lambo doesn't flick itself that nicely. 52.3 I'm trying.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's a bit too much. But literally at some point, maybe you don't even need to give that other impulse. Maybe it's also just beneficial if you, instead of further releasing the brake, you just keep the brake where it is, and then you are overrunning the lateral performance of the tire anyway.
Yeah. Do you have maybe some other general tips like the one that you said with the straight, like making the majority of the turning before the apex? Like any other tips like this for the hypercars in general?
For the hypercars in general, with the current tire model, and that is obviously always subject to change, it is beneficial to. The reason why you try a Scandi flick into the hairpin is obviously because the tire allows for that little bit of a slip slider. So the tire on the rear has more than enough, or like actually too much lateral grip when sliding 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees in a slip angle.
Okay.
And that you can make use of also in like middle sector. So especially, let's say, for no-name corner, or for fungus, you tend to slightly over-rotate the car into a turn. So not actually flicking it, but have the car balance rather a bit on the oversteery side. And then you can use the throttle and the traction control override button on the exits in order to like disengage traction control, have a little bit of rear spinning tires, but just ever so slightly. But you get like really good exits as the traction control would intervene, but the car can actually take the flat out.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the tires are changing to what we've had before December 10th,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't do that anymore. So I'm not sure if I would really go that direction because
Okay.
personally, if I had to say at MSG, I'd be like, bring that old tire back where the rear slip is not even possible. Like you can
Okay.
have a rear slip and you can then save it so that you don't die, but you
Mm-hmm.
should never be able to what we're currently doing, like gain time from it.
It's like mini drifting out of
Mini
the corners.
drifting, having a little bit of a slip angle between two
Oh,
and 5 degrees, really. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Other than that, it's like really make sure to use all the track. Um, make sure to use the curbs, especially on the exit when they are not super high.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way up to the track limits. The more speed you can carry through the turn, um, better it is. And then, of course, at the end of the day, all principle is like slow in, fast out.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key element for the hypercars.
And during the races, I often notice, for example, when we are racing in a hyper class by ourselves, then everything is fine mostly. But when we start approaching the GT3 class, I usually
Hmm.
find that the guys that I'm racing are able to clear the traffic a bit faster than me.
Hmm.
So any tips regarding the racing the slower class, how to approach it?
You may find a YouTube tutorial on my YouTube channel on it.
Okay.
Um, I've done a couple of basic rules, as in where to send or not to send it. You need to develop a feeling, and that is nothing one can really teach. It's a situational awareness based on experience, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you are approaching a car, like whenever you see a car ahead, and this is what usually happens in my mind. So when I exit Blanchimont and I see a car going short before bus stop, the right through bus stop, or it's just after bus stop, I already anticipate in my mind, okay, where do I expect that car to hit? Is it before Eau Rouge? Is it on Eau Rouge? Is it on the Camel Straight? Is it even in Le Combe?
Okay, so thinking a lot of into the future.
I'm trying to think a lot of ahead, yes. And whenever I see from a few miles back, like there is absolutely no chance I can get the car. So what I usually do then is like I lift super early. So when I come up the Camel Straight going into Lacombe and be like, shit, if I keep pushing, I'm gonna run into that GT3 or GTE or into that slower class car
Mm-hmm.
right in the transmission between the right-hander and the left-hander. And then I need to wait until the exit right-hander until I can overtake.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing usually is like when I notice this, I lift off the throttle, I give up like 2 or 3 tenths on purpose
Okay.
before the actual turn. But then I start pushing through the right-hander and through the left-hander, and in an ideal world, I exit the, the right-hander with my normal speed and just behind the GT3 so that I can then from the exit pull over to the right, go for the move.
To create as much speed difference on the exit to overtake him as quick as possible.
Exactly. So what I want to do is like I'm happy to give away 2 tenths before the turns, to then have a normal exit and lose no further time there, instead of not losing any time beforehand, but coming so slow out of the turn that I lose 2 tenths on the exit and another 2 or even 3 from the missing momentum on the next straight ahead.
Okay, that's
You and
really
that is explained in the tutorial, and also there is I'm showing Motec evidence that is proven that this concept is working if done right. It needs
okay.
practice, it needs experience, but if done perfectly right, is certainly faster than just sitting behind waiting for the cars to be gone, or for
Okay.
the corner to be gone.
I guess the time is running out. Can I have just one last question?
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the telemetry, when I was playing mainly on the iRacing, I found using the, I think, Garage 61, I was using mostly to compare ourselves to myself to other, brought me quite a bit of lap time. In LMU, as far as I know, there is no such software that would allow me to compare to others, or is there?
There
Because you're
is.
referring to Motec. I was never using Motec, to be honest, so I don't know if in Motec I can also compare the lap times with other drivers if I have the file from them or something like
Yes,
this.
yes. You can not only. I can quickly show that to you. I am sharing my virtual camera on Discord now.
Okay. Okay, I see it.
I just need to grab a file real quick. Bear with me. Racing. There we go. I'm just gonna put up the files of the lab that I just done now with you. So this is Motec.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see lots of things actually. So this is, yeah, you see the brake bias that I've used. I
Okay.
think if I drag in the file that I just did getting the Scandi flag in, you should see that I'm, here you go, on the brake bias. I kept changing back and forth. There you see
Okay.
what I did on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And there you can start comparing stuff. But I compare the fast lap versus my not so fast lap. Then you can also see which corner did I miss. I think it was the entry of Fungus. And you see actually why. In Fungus on the slower lap, which is white, I just broke very much later, and then I had to brake a lot harder here. And that meant that I carried way too much speed. You see here the wheel rotation speed. That is like a 20 kph difference. So no wonder I was going off the line. And I think in some setting you also would see a difference in lines there.
Okay. And is Motec is free, or do I have to pay for it?
It's
How
free.
does it?
It's free.
Okay.
You find also a tutorial on my YouTube channel on how to install it.
Okay.
And yes, you can see all sorts of stuff. If you're used to iRacing, you will be mind blown to see what's possible with Le Mans Ultimate and RF2. Like you can check surface temperature all the way. You can see how the suspension is working. You can see how your right height is developing, where you're bottoming out. You can see
Okay.
all sort of stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, really.
Yeah, like here you have a direct comparison. If I look into the Fungus situation again, on the faster, you saw that I was giving up the corner pretty much, and also you see that the fast lap is a lap after, because here the tire temperature goes into the red circuit, which simply just means I have more tire temperature already in the tire, which you can see here on the dotted lines and stuff.
And that's much more information there was in those iRacing
iRacing is
applications.
super basic when it comes to telemetry and this Atlas or however it's called. Motec is like this. You can set this up to log 1000 hertz. So
Oh my god.
1000 digits per second.
Yeah.
Which is obviously there is that downside that, and I'm just taking the quick race, not the quick race, the endurance race that I did into comparison for that. I need to disable these things here real quick. What I did at Bahrain, you obviously got the full 50 laps, and this file is like 420 megabytes big.
Okay.
But you can see all sorts of stuff, suspension forces, how the right height is working, but generally also in driving, you can look at specific sector times, yeah,
Even timing, okay.
and you
That's
can
really
you
good.
can you can you can adjust it as you want. Like if you are, where's the track map? There's the track map. Here you see how the sectors are setting up, and if you be like, I don't care about this part because this is being 100% on dependable on this one anyway. You just delete the section, yeah, and then this becomes
Okay.
one part. And the same here, like you don't really need this one maybe. So what you do is you click the little straight, delete it, and then just maybe move the gauge, yeah. And in order, if you want to compare pit lanes, then you just put different things like here's the pit lane in between, and then you can just compare. If we're looking at pit lanes real quick, I boxed lap 15. You compare this straight 0 and start with this one, because here I'm in the entry. You see I lose 3 seconds, and here the same with the exit. Like instead of going over the main straight in 7 seconds, it took me 50.1 to be at the beacon. And then you also see what you lose from a cold tire. So 7/10 in the first turn. Then everything here is a straight. That is kind of fine. And then first left-hander. I think here I also weaved a little bit, so to get the temperature back into the tire real quick. Obviously here I was coasting a lot. Here I was flat out a lot. So you can actually
Okay, I will need to get this and start using this as well, because this for sure will also bring me some lap time for the future.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. I was like a main comment I have. I'm very happy with what we did over the hour, and the main like a takeaway for me is that the small details really add up in the lap time. When you apply them everywhere correctly, you really can make a difference. From those small corrections. And yeah, to be honest, on some things, like for example this later entry into the Puhon or going over the curb at the end of the Camel Straight on the inside, I probably by myself I would never try it, because yeah, I was not thinking in this way really. So really, thank you very much. I enjoyed this time. For sure, I will have to practice now what you pointed out a lot. But yeah, eye-opening really. The how much the little subtle differences make a difference at the end of the lap. That's really the main takeaway.
It feels so same. Like you look at it and you're like, you're not doing that much different, but it's like 6 or 7 or 8 tenths. But if you have a look at the details, and this is where also Le Mans Ultimate differs a little bit from iRacing. Like iRacing, there's like one way to driving it.
Yes.
If you not drive it like that, you're not gonna be quick no matter what you do.
Yes.
And I think, the same happens in Le Mans Ultimate to an extent. Whereas that said, you were not slow beforehand. Like a 201 is pretty respectable already in terms of pace. It's just you have so many different ways. Like you can either Scandi flick the car through a hairpin, or you can be like really precise in the line and the speed and everything.
Yeah.
And have literally the same. So there is more dynamic driving possible in Le Mans Ultimate for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Just talking in general, yes. I first tried Le Mans Ultimate shortly, like a couple of days after they released the last update with the GT3 cars. And since I fired it up I didn't turn on iRacing since then. Really, the car
Good
feeling,
boy.
the cars feel alive. That like there's, I mean, there is so much more joy from the driving itself than in iRacing. In iRacing, the racing is good, but the driving of the car is depending on which car you drive. Yes, but
Yeah.
a little bit, but. In Le Mans Ultimate, the driving itself is so much better and more enjoyable than in iRacing. That's really, for the moment, I really have no intention of going back.
That's great to hear. Like everyone knows, I've never been a big fan of iRacing, and I have my bias towards the iRacing fanboys, because they never actually give something else a real shot.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. To be honest, I had some troubles in the beginning with Le Mans.
mhm.
First 2 days, I didn't have really too much time to put into, so it was like, meh. I'm not sure if I will be playing it. But the
Yeah,
third day, when I had a little bit more time and I really had time to dial in all the settings, the graphic setting, the controls, and everything, and then started driving, like really give it a good 2-3 hours of setting up everything before actually trying driving, then it clicked, and then I
yeah.
stayed.
This is probably the biggest point of criticism, besides the bugs and stuff. Until you are good to go and enjoy the racing experience, you need to set up a lot of things, and
Yep.
it's not 100% intuitive. I get that. Which is why
Mm-hmm.
I've also done tutorials all over the channel to how to set up stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you have a little bit of a pointer already where to start. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, great to hear.
Okay,
Good.
great. Yeah, for sure I will be putting what we learned to practice. I think I will contact you in a couple of weeks to have another session, maybe also on some different track to see also some different corner types on what I can do in different corners, and to set up another session. And for sure I will recommend the session to my colleagues that I'm playing with. So
Yeah, thank you
it
very
was
much.
really good experience. Thank you
Glad
very much.
glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Right. You've heard it. Kamil enjoyed the session. And with that, guys, I can only encourage you, check out the description down below the video. I have summed up what information we would need for your personal coaching session. Write me a mail, simracing@michi-hoyer.com. Name me car, name me track, name me your area that you want to improve. Um, and then we get something going. And if you want to have a closer look, again, look into the video description. You'll find all the information. Thank you very much for joining on the coaching session here with Kamil. We've had a good time. He will surely improve. Despite he hasn't really put a lap time in that was faster than in the beginning, that's fine. That is what this coaching is about. You have to take one step back, then go new ways, and then you do 2 or 3 steps forwards. And it is a process, as usual. This coaching session is not here for you're gonna improve straight away. Note, if you're very far off the limits, then you might obviously improve during the session. But generally, when we're talking about details, which in case of Kamil we did, then it's always like you take a step back, you will drop a few tenths, you will drop half a second until you get dialed in the new lines, the new style, the new techniques. And then when you start putting it into practice and start putting it all together, you're gonna smash your old barrier. And that's how it works. So if you guys are interested in that, looking forwards, let me also know what you think down in the comments area below. Looking forward to see your feedback. Kamil, thank you so much for having you. Thank you so much for having the work with me and the collaboration. And enjoy your days. Thank you for watching.